We love Zencaster because it allows us to record the audio for our podcast and create the video segments we use for our weekly Sister Scoop episodes. Zencaster has helped us make content capture simple.
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencaster. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests, and feel a sense of zen knowing Zencaster's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable.
If you've thought about podcasting before and realized that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are over. With Zencaster's all-in-one podcasting platform, you can create your podcast in one place and distribute it to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations.
Just go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code SistersAssembled, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all of our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
Katie and I are always hungry, and one snack we both love is beef jerky. That's why we're so excited to tell you about one of our favorite jerky brands, Matt Hat Jerky.
Matt Hat's delicious taste makes it a great snack, and the variety of flavors, including original, black truffle, and my personal favorite, roasted garlic, means there's a flavor for everyone. Plus, it's local to the area where we grew up in, which we just love.
Use the link in the show notes below to get some Matt Hat Jerky for yourself, and make sure to use our coupon code SistersAssembled for 10% off. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Sisters Assembled. We're a little late on this one because our birthday was a couple of weeks ago, but we couldn't let our third birthday go past without a tiny little episode commemorating the momentous occasion, because we made it 3 years down, hopefully many, many more to go. And we're super excited to just talk a little bit about kind of what we've had in the past year, what we've done, and what we're looking forward to in year 4. It's going to be a short, quick episode, but one that we are excited to do and just reflect a little bit on the year that's been for Sisters Assemble. So, without me waxing poetic too long, we're going to start off with our first topic, which is what we are most proud of in year 3. And as always, Katie, you get to go first.
Well, I think you kind of said it without saying it. I'm most proud of being Sisters Assembled, because for those of you who might not know, we rebranded for our last birthday. And so we've actually only been Sisters Assembled officially for 1 year. Before that, we were Let's Talk Marvel Fan Theories, but we thought to go a little bit more on brand for us and something we wanted a little more as an agreed upon thing versus the name that I kind of made one day for a project and then it just kind of stuck around. We just never let it go. So I think I'm most proud of that. That was rough. I think I speak for T and I when I say we both had a couple mental breakdowns in the process of getting things ready for the rebrand. We had a couple mental breakdowns afterwards because obviously, you know, rebranding is tough no matter if you're the biggest podcast in the world or you're not. The work that goes into it. Suddenly people don't know where to find you, which is another huge thing we struggled with this year, is people who were looking for Let's Talk Marvel Fan Theories no longer could find Let's Talk Marvel Fan Theories. So, you know, I'm proud of the rebrand, but I'm also proud that we stuck through and we really went through with it for the past year. Not that we were going to go back, but we went through with it all, and all the ups and downs, we were able to move through it. And I think people know us as Sisters Assembled now. I think.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this one up. I do have a different example that I also want to talk about, but this one's a big one because I was also thinking about it. I was like, oh, what did we do in our third year? And then I was like, whoa, roll it back to our second birthday when we had this whole hard launch of Sisters Assemble. Like, we went ham. I know you touched on this, Katie, but like all of the little details that we had to think about of like, how do we update the website and the URL and the whole branding behind that? We got a whole logo redone. We commissioned art. That's why you actually see us as superheroes. All of that was months in the making, multiple rounds of edits. Shout out to our artist who did that. She was incredible. And that it's just so much, so many late nights, late night texts, late night, midnight, us on the phone as things were changing over, making sure they were good. It was a long process, but I really think, we are much more solid as a brand now. I think it is, to Katie's point, much more who we are as Taylor and Katie, and less this like generic Marvel podcast. It definitely speaks a lot more to hopefully the personalities that you guys enjoy listening to on a weekly basis.
Hopefully.
Yeah, ideally. I mean, you're here, so that, says something good. But if this is your first episode, hopefully you stick around.
Please come back.
Yeah, please do. We normally have Marvel related content. You just caught us at an off week. But yeah, so that was definitely a big one. I think, one other one that really stuck out to me that was a huge milestone was hitting our 100th episode. And that too was a big undertaking, working with some of our fantastic partners that we've gotten to meet throughout the years, having them come on. You guys have listened to Davis a lot recently. He was on with us, and just having the opportunity to really look back at 100 episodes of Sisters Assembled slash Let's Talk Marvel fan theories, because at that point the large majority was Let's Talk Marvel fan theories, and it was amazing. I mean, a lot of podcasts don't hit 100 episodes, so that felt really, really good. I know we're coming up on 150 soon, so that feels crazy to think that we just did that and now we're coming up on the next kind of halfway point. But that was a huge, huge moment for us too.
Yeah, I honestly kind of forgot we did 100 within the past year, but that's just because we have been so full. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, moving over to Sisters Assembled, we also decided to go to weekly episodes, which we hadn't been doing before.
That we did.
Yeah. So while she was kind of saying, oh, we're already almost at 150, well, that's because our first 2 years as a podcast, where we could, we were only doing every other week versus like obviously with the shows, we were covering those every week. But yeah, we were doing every other week for the most part in those dry spells. And then we ramped it up and we said, people expect weekly podcasts a lot. We want to be in your ears weekly. We want you guys listening to us weekly. So we were like, we're going to do this. And I totally forgot we even hit 100 in the past year because we are on like episode 140 or something. So it just feels kind of crazy to say that that was still during the third year of our podcast.
Yeah, third year was a big year between the rebrand and 100 episodes. It feels like we hit a really kind of momentous year. So hopefully we're going to keep up that momentum, going into year 4.
Hopefully.
But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. More to come. The next thing I want to cover, obviously you guys are here for the Marvel content, so we couldn't not talk about Marvel. And Katie, I would love to know what topics, what pieces of content, movies, etc. you enjoyed covering the most in year 3.
So this is not because of recency bias, I assure you. Although some of it is because I can't remember back a year. Like I can't think of what we were covering in August of last year. But I think my favorite thing that we covered this year, and while it was a heavy haul, was X-Men 97. I think because of the content of that show, the show itself was perfection. Y'all don't need to hear me say it was a 10 out of 10 for the 15,000th time, but it was. So I think having a show that I loved so much. Oh my God, no, because last August was like Secret Invasion. So yes, X-Men 97.
I was like
100%
June, but still.
the top. Well, but like it was still during this year because now that is all coming back to me. And I'm like, yeah, wait, yeah. Recency bias aside, yes, X-Men 97.
Yeah, Loki season 2 still didn't do it for us.
Yep. No, I'm remembering all this now. I think it was also so cool to be able to do this 10 episode event. Like I said, it was a huge haul for us to kind of keep up with. A lot of watching of TV, especially because we watched all the OGs before we started the series, but also then the recording, the turnaround, the blog post that also had to get turned around. There was a lot happening very quickly. We've never had to do that before, so I'm proud of us for it. But that was awesome. And I love talking about something that's so good. I hate having to get on the mic and say, that was kind of crap. I'll say it, but I hate having to do it. I want to like what's going on out there, and I like to put positive, information out there about something we've watched. So I think my favorite thing's been X-Men 97, and that's honestly probably going to be fairly high up there in regards to all that we've covered with the podcast, because it's one of those shows and one of those pieces of content that just takes the cake.
Yeah, no, that definitely is up there for me as well. I think you were touching on something really important when you were saying, you enjoy doing more of the positive reviews than like ripping something. Like, I know we talked about Secret Invasion this year. We didn't like the finale of Loki, though we liked everything up until that point. It's way more fun. Even the finale of Echo that we didn't love, like, it's so much more fun to talk about, oh my gosh, I'm so excited because this happened and this and this and this, versus, okay, well, they went in this direction that I didn't really like, or this does not, mix with the character's trajectory, or this is the opposite. In this case of Loki, like, this is the opposite of what the character would have wanted. Like, that sucks. And like, all of those things. I do think that's really important. And I think the other aspect to that is with X-Men 97 is it was so much fun to be back in the fandom. Like, we obviously never left the fandom,
Yeah.
but the fandom, and I know a lot of people have been talking about this, has been so divided, has
The
been so
fandom left
negative.
us.
Yeah. It's been just really ever since the, things came back after, I would say, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki season 1. I think we all were just so excited to be back. And then it just became this, like, it was not fun. Like, negativity spun negativity, spun negativity, and it was the end of Marvel. And like, I think for the first time in a few years, we finally got to a place where everybody was just like, this is fun to be back. Like, I enjoy having these conversations. And there were fewer, really negative voices saying, oh, this was gross and meh this and meh that, and having, such Debbie Downer things to say. Look, if you have a valid critique, that is more than okay. That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
But if you're going to just be a jerk to be a jerk, that's not fun for anybody. And so I think there was just so much more positivity when it came to X-Men 97. And I think the other piece of content that I really want to highlight that had kind of that same vibe, though because it was just a movie and didn't, go on for 10 weeks, it didn't maybe have as long lasting an impact, though I listened to the soundtrack for the rest of the summer, and it just eked in to year 3 because we covered reactions as probably our second or third episode of year 3 is Across the Spider-Verse. And that movie, I mean, look, I was like, cool, Miles Morales going into that movie. Now, if y'all have listened to any of our episodes
Oh
in the
my
last
gosh,
year,
Taylor, you have never been like, oh, cool, Miles Morales. Absolutely not. You have always been at the highest caliber of like, ever since the first one came out, you're like, Miles Morales.
no, that's not true. The first one, I was like, this is fine because I didn't even see
We
it in
have
theaters.
you
I saw
on
it on
recording.
Hulu.
You know that, right?
Not before the second movie. Go back and listen to our episodes. I swear to you.
There's no way. There's no way.
Maybe we remembered it differently. That's fine. Either way, I love Miles Morales. I didn't, feel as passionately in my memory. I didn't feel as passionately about him as I did, before Across the Spider-Verse as I do now. I think because that movie was just like such an incredible moment. That cliffhanger when the credits roll, that song, like, so much of it was just such insanity. And I think that was really, that and X-Men 97 have been really our first tastes in years of really just universal enjoyment. Maybe Guardians 3, but just universal enjoyment of something that Marvel or a Marvel adjacent property is putting out. And I think that's, for us, always going to be the most fun stuff to cover because, again, we like to be excited. We don't want to sit here and rip your narrative. Give us the good stuff. Give us more of these types of content.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few times we've gotten on episodes or right before we get on the episodes, and we genuinely both have to tell each other how we feel. And then we're like, how do we talk about this? Because we're like, we don't want to come on and sound as if we hated every single bit of everything. For those of you who listened to the Loki season 2 finale, that was a long night.
Yeah. That was our second episode of the day.
Right. Like, we watched the Marvels, recorded that episode, then watched Loki and recorded that episode all in one night. We were tired. Y'all got the worst of us that night. Typically, we try not to come on and be completely negative about something we don't like or didn't like or whatever the case may be. So, yes, I agree that the positive's always going to be more fun to cover, but we do try and prep to not be completely negative. Again, apologies, Loki season 2, episode 6 reactions.
You were a victim of circumstances, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, we still feel our feelings, but that one went off the rails a little bit. Like, I was editing that one for T because we had so many episodes coming out, and I was like, okay, I'll take an episode and we can get this stuff out so we can get it out on time. And I was messaging her and I was like, Taylor, like, you just like lose it on this episode. You sound so mean. Like, she's ripping Loki season 2 a new one on it. And I'm like, Oh my god. And it's so funny because you start that way, we mellow out slightly, and you can tell I'm trying to keep us like a little, and I'm getting tired. You can tell I'm just like, yeah, like I'm over it. And then the last 10 minutes, you just like go off again. And I was editing it and I was like, oh my God, like I can't, we have to put this out here. And I cannot believe because we sound like we hated this thing. But yes, positive. We hope to have more of it. Across the Spider Verse, a great example of it. I honestly forgot that movie. I forgot the timing of that movie. So great pick, but also I wish we could do more coverage around some of the movies. To your point, I feel like they get stuck. We all talk about them for the first like 2-3 weeks and then that's it.
Yeah. I also want to point out, side note, these are both animated projects, and we're two people who have always said we prefer live action.
That's true.
So interesting that our best picks of year 3 were both in animation.
Although, to be fair, yes, we prefer live action. However, we grew up as animated kids.
This is true.
Like, especially with our superhero stuff, that's what got us into everything. Like, we weren't sitting here watching Tobey Maguire most of the time, but we were watching the animated 90s Spider-Man show every morning.
Heck yeah. He came back in a nice little cameo, him and MJ. We love.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Alrighty, and then for our last topic of our birthday celebration episode, we are gonna give you a little sneak preview of year 4. So, Katie, what are you looking forward to? Could be a piece of content or could be with the show in general for year 4, now that we're, a week or two into it.
Ooh, okay. Well, I guess if I went the content route, I think I don't know. This is so hard. Mainly because I can also only think of what we're ending 2024 with and not what is at the beginning of 2025, which is a whole half year.
Caitlin,
What?
the fact that you didn't come out the gate with one movie in particular.
Oh my God!
What's
Wait,
wrong with you?
that was horrible. Well, to be fair, I could not think of the slate to save my life. And I could think of 2 projects that were on the 2024 slate, and that was it. So, first and foremost, to everybody out there, of course, I look most forward to covering Thunderbolts, which is set to come out next May 2024, 2025, whatever year it is. I don't know what year it is. That will still hit our 4th year as a podcast. So, I'm most excited for that one. I actually was going to say when I couldn't remember anything that was coming out in 2025, I was going to say Deadpool and Wolverine. I feel like, let's be serious, guys. We've all been waiting for this movie. Marvel is not pulling the stops when it comes to any sort of marketing. I mean, my God, there's like 17 million posters for this already coming out. I can't wait. I don't know what they're going to do. And that is what excites me the most. This is my multiverse of madness. This is what multiverse of madness should have made me feel like. And instead I was like, oh, but this is what I feel like it's going to be finally. And also, in Ryan Reynolds, I trust kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Like he's never done anything wrong as far as Deadpool, the character, and what he's put out there. So I trust with him bringing Hugh Jackman back and everything that this is going to be one of the best things we're going to cover in a long time.
Yeah, I definitely think Deadpool is up there, but I have to put 2 projects ahead of it. One is Captain America, New World Order. You know me, I'm a Cap girl. It's Sam's first outing. I love the whole political angle that we get into with Cap, bringing in so many of the elements. Am I a little nervous about how many elements they're bringing in? Sure. But I also think, there's going to be a lot that's going to come out of it. It feels like one of those movies that is really starting off a lot of things as well as continuing a lot of things. So it feels like it's going to be really, really important. And again, Anthony Mackie as Sam,
love him,
getting his first true moment as Cap in the suit, his own title, not spending half of it as the Falcon, but 100% Captain America. Absolutely here for that. Super excited. And then my other one, which should come to no surprise or as no surprise to anybody, is Daredevil Born Again, because y'all know how much I loved the Netflix series. And I believe that's a March release next year. So super excited about that. Just everything that we've seen about characters coming back, the Punisher, all of that. And even, of course, continuing the plot line of Kingpin that we really progressed really well in Echo. I think that's going to be such a good show. And if it's anything like the Netflix series, it's going to blow a lot of the other live action series out the water. And I'm just really, really, really pumped for that one.
Neither of those picks surprise me.
Your pick didn't surprise me either. That's why when you didn't say it right away, I was like, are you okay?
Well, my brain completely couldn't remember the slate. To be fair, keep in mind, almost every piece of content that's supposedly coming out in 2025 has been pushed in like some way, shape, or form. So I couldn't even remember if the Thunderbolts was still coming out in May or if it was pushed to like July or something. So keep that in mind was that I don't even know what the slate looks like half the time because Marvel doesn't know what the slate looks like half the time.
Well, some of us came prepared and looked at the slate ahead of time so they would know what they wanted to say.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I was completely winging it this episode.
Yeah.
I have no regrets because I've answered every question with the exception of that last one. And granted, I was just gonna say Deadpool and Wolverine. I just forgot.
Also a solid choice.
Yeah. So I still had an answer. I was still prepared for answering the question, just not with what you thought, which, to be fair, would be my true correct answer.
Yes. All right. Anything with the show that you want to highlight that you're pumped for in year 4?
Well, yes, there is. Because, guys, we have some new things coming your way. Every year on our birthday, we try to roll out something new just to kind of keep you guys growing with us as we grow. So, the first thing is we're starting our Facebook account. Exciting! Yes. If you find us, we've actually been like secretly posting on it for the past month or two because you got to get it going somewhere. But yes, we are starting our Facebook account. So, if you guys want to give us a follow there, we're hoping to make it a little more interactive over time. So, hopefully, if you guys have ever gone into what are they called? Like groups on Facebook, like we're kind of trying to give it that vibe over time. So definitely go ahead, join us on there. Again, it's not going to be perfect from the start. We got to learn. It's going to be test, trial, and error. But yes, we are starting our Facebook account and we're hoping we can really interact with you guys more on there and talk about things a lot more than we've been able to on some of our other socials.
Yeah. And on top of that, coming later this summer, we are going to finally be releasing our merch line of Sisters Assembled merch. You guys may remember we did have Let's Talk Marvel Fan Theories merch. I do have a cute little bucket hat in my closet of the vintage collection, but there will be a new collection coming out with all of our stuff for Sisters Assembled. So if you're into the show and you want to really, show it on a t-shirt or a hat, we will be giving you all of that information later this summer. So excited to roll that out. We're excited to buy some, have some mugs, some notebooks. We're going to have lots of options and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, and you should go buy it because I worked really hard on those designs, guys. So it is self-made by us. So definitely go and check it out and go get something, get a sticker or something and go show your support for us. We hope you guys love us as much as we love doing this because we really enjoy doing the podcast. I can't believe we're entering year 4. We've gone through, and I know we say this every year, but we've gone through so many life transitions, especially because this started over COVID. Like we started this when we were both stuck at home over COVID. So it's kind of crazy to say here we are just in our life perspective, but also just from the podcast as well. So we love doing this. We aren't going anywhere. So I hope you guys stick around and you tell your friends and you just keep letting us grow and helping us grow because you guys are the only reason we do this. Really, we love to do it. But if we didn't have people listening, well, it's just us talking to each other, which we can do anyway.
Yeah, we don't need mics for that.
Yeah, we don't really need mics. We can just sit on FaceTime and do that, which we've done already multiple times because, we're sisters. Spoiler alert if you didn't get that. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys as fans and everybody who's either stuck around from the very beginning or you're finding us now or whatever your journey with us has been. Thank you. Truly.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. We are so grateful. We definitely would have given up by now if we hadn't had anyone listening and seeing that you guys are actually enjoying the content and listening and all of that good stuff. So really, really appreciate you guys sticking around with us. We're excited for year 4. We're hoping you're excited for year 4. There's a lot of great content coming out and we are always pumped to cover that for you, find better ways to bring this news to your ears And on that note, I mean, that's all I've got to say about our birthday. I think it's going to be a great year. We're excited. And if you are also looking forward to all the things we're going to cover and all the ways we're going to change and evolve and grow as a show, you can make sure that you are subscribing on your podcast platform of choice if you have not already. Also, please check out the website. It is our central hub to everything related to the show, as well as the home of our blog, which Katie so lovingly creates. So definitely make sure you're checking that out on a regular basis and or bookmarking it for easy access.
You guys can also find us on Twitter at SisAssembledPod, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube at Sisters Assembled as well. So go ahead, give us a follow, a subscribe, whatever you got to do to keep up with us. And we are going right into year 4, or I should say, continuing year 4, since we're a couple weeks into it already, with a series we've been doing since the dawn of time, it feels like. And we're actually almost sort of caught up. Almost. We are going with our replay series next week with Thor Ragnarok, arguably one of my favorite movies in the MCU, but we all also know what that begins and what era that begins. So we are very excited to do this replay. Make sure you guys are going to be listening. If you guys would like to watch the movie, here's your week notice to go watch it. And join us next week as we replay Thor Ragnarok, as you keep up with Marvel and us, as Marvel just blew your mind. So let's talk about it.